China's engagement with climate change is obviously complicated. I think the first thing is that their emissions are much too high. Right? If we were to solve the global climate problem, China has to bring its emissions down more quickly. But the most interesting thing that's been happening in the last few years is China's absolute dominance in the clean energy and electric vehicle space. So they now manufacture most of the solar, wind, electric vehicles and batteries that we need for the clean energy transition. That's a great opportunity for all of the other countries in the world, particularly global South countries that need affordable clean technologies. In Latin America, it's obviously also an opportunity to sell resources that bring in income for the countries, but also opportunities to try to move up the value chain. I know that's an important topic in Latin American countries, and we've already had conversation at this meeting about China's engagement with Latin America in order to find resources, but also to find markets for its products.
I think firstly, we're going to increase mutual understanding. There's huge understanding gap between Chinese and Latin American country policymakers. So by mutual understanding, the local economic policies could better utilize the investment from China, and that's one. And secondly, we're gonna have build a mutual harmonized economic environmental standard as well, because as we just discussed before, these days environmental issue has been a real major concern about all of the investment globally. And for Latin American countries, it's also been a long discussed issues during these years. And it's been the major risk of Chinese investment so far in Latin American countries. So these are, I think, the mutual understanding of the policy as well as the mutual understanding with the environmental issues are two key factors for better utilize the Chinese investment in Latin American countries.
I think the most important one is about the country risks and political issues, because when we have a very good international relationship between China and Latin American countries, then everything is fine. But however, every time when the government facing changes, then the agreement and the commitments that we signed before suddenly discharged and suspended. So I think it has a very huge influence to Chinese investment in this region.
It's useful for the rest of the world to understand that there is this complicated policy process that on the whole has pushed China to do more on the environment. This doesn't mean by any means that China is doing things perfectly. There are many things that require engagement, Chinese actors to engage with the local people, the local companies, the local governments that they engage with as they go into the world. And through that process of understanding what different groups need and want, I think we can come to a better accommodation. But I think that's a useful message that's a little bit different than the discussions about China in the United States these days, which is very much a sort of good and evil kind of discussion. I think we step away from that space and understand that China has strengths and faults like any country, and if we treat all of those things honestly and fairly, that we can have a better result for everyone. The event so far, I think, is an effort to try to deal with the opportunities and risks that China presents in a pragmatic way. I think that's the best that we can do. I think China is reshaping the world, and it's the work for all of us to make sure that reshaping of the world goes in a direction that we can all live with and benefit from.